Alright. Now consider these sentences. I will leave the class when the next teacher will come. 1. Next sentence. We all work hard so that we can, will live. And the third, I will get good grades if I will work hard. All these 3 sentences. All these 3 sentences. Are grammatically incorrect. Sorry. All these 3 sentences. I will leave the class when the next teacher will come. When the next teacher will come or would come. We all work hard so that we will live. Incorrect. I will get good grades if I will work hard. Incorrect. Again, let's underline the subordinate clauses here. Alright. You can also understand a clause that depends for its meaning on the other clause is a subordinate clause. Subordinate clause is also called a dependent clause. That means a clause which is dependent for its meaning on the other clause, on the independent clause. So here in the first sentence, the dependent clause or the subordinate clause is when the teacher will come. In the next sentence, the subordinate clause is so that we can or will live. In the third sentence, the subordinate clause is if I will work hard. These are all known as either subordinate clauses or dependent clauses. So, and the main clause in the first sentence is I will leave the class. See, I will leave the class. If you put a full stop after class, this particular sentence stands on its own. But should you remove I will leave the class and write when the next teacher will come in isolation, it gives you meaning, but it conveys incomplete meaning. Similarly, we all work hard is complete in itself, so that we can live or will live is incomplete. Yeah, the fact remains that it is incorrect. And again, if I will work hard does not convey full meaning in isolation. However, we will get good grades is complete in itself. So when the next teacher will come in, so that we can oblique will live, if I will work hard, these are all subordinate clauses. And these are all incorrect sentences. All incorrect sentences. These are all incorrect sentences. The reason these are incorrect is this. In all these 3 instances, alright, let's take these 3 instances one by one. In the first instance, the subordinate clause states time. In the second instance, the subordinate clause states purpose. In the third instance, the subordinate clause states condition. When the next teacher will come states time. So that so can be optional. I can write without so. States purpose. And if I will work hard states condition. Now, and the rule says, see, if we analyze And these are all complex sentences. If we analyze these three sentences, the first one, I will leave the class, main clause. When the next teacher will come in, subordinate clause. Similarly, I have underlined the subordinate clauses in the remaining two sentences and left the main clauses ununderlined. In the main clauses, the tense of the verb is either in the first case future, in the second present, in the third again in future. And the rule says if the finite verb in the main if the main finite verb is in present or future, it can follow any tense. It doesn't hold true in these sentences, in these three kind of situations. So I will the rule says, rather, we must first understand what the rule says in these three situations. The rule simply says, if the subordinate clause states purpose, condition or time, present or future, will only follow present indefinite. This is the rule. Present or future in these conditions will only follow present indefinite. That means that simply means I will have to rewrite these sentences. I will have to rewrite all these three sentences in this manner. I will have to remove future tense and make it present indefinite. Now, this fifth sentence we take, or rather, the second sentence we take in a little while. Again, here again, the future tense will have to be changed into present indefinite. Here. And the second sentence is very important on two counts. If the subordinate clause states purpose, one, I cannot use any tense. Second, I will only have to use may. Sorry, if the subordinate clause states purpose, if I said that, subordinate clause states purpose, I will only use may. Only may, and no other modal. No other. I can use may or might depending on the tense of the finite verb. So in this way I can correct these sentences. I will leave the class when the next teacher comes in. It states time. We all work hard so that we may live. Again, present indefinite in the subordinate clause. And I will get good grades if I work hard. This is how I can correct it. And these are very common errors. Very, very common errors. So our rule that present and future can follow any tense does not hold true in these three situations. One, when the subordinate clause states time. Second, when the subordinate clause states purpose. And the third, when the subordinate clause states condition. Simply put, I can understand it in a simpler manner. If and will do not go together. When and will do not go together in the same clause, that is. When and will in the same clause do not go together. If and will do not go together in the same clause. Now, just like when, there's so many other subordinating conjunctions which state time. They too will not take any verb with the future tense, in future tense. Similarly, condition can also be stated using unless. These subordinate conjunction.